The unification of Italy is often remembered as a moment of arrival. A people divided by borders and rulers finally gathered into a single state. Maps become simpler afterward. Names become singular. The story appears to resolve itself. Yet the contradiction begins here. The moment Italy became one, it became less certain of what that unity was meant to contain. Conflict did not clear confusion. It preserved it. Authority did not settle into place. It spread unevenly, stretched across regions that recognized the state before they recognized its right to command. The dream was large enough to mobilize armies and alliances, but too large to arrive intact. What followed was not peace after struggle, but a quieter tension between possession and belief, between the fact of rule and the acceptance of it. Before unification, the peninsula was not waiting patiently for cohesion. It was administered, taxed, defended, and governed by multiple powers with long memories of control. The Kingdom of Sardinia-Piedmont built institutions that could expand outward. The Austrian Empire enforced order in the north. The Papal States exercised spiritual authority reinforced by territory. The Kingdom of the Two Sicilies ruled the south through hierarchy and distance. These were not abstractions. They were armies, courts, police, land registries, tariffs, and borders. They produced paperwork and obedience. They also produced habits. Loyalty moved vertically, not horizontally. Authority was local before it was national. When unification began, it did not erase these structures. It collided with them. The terrain itself resisted coherence. Mountains segmented populations. Roads connected capitals more easily than villages. Dialects functioned as barriers. Law was not uniform. Taxation was experienced differently depending on who imposed it and where. The project of unification did not begin with a shared administrative language. It began with conflict between those who believed authority could be extended and those who already possessed it. War was not an interruption to politics. It was the mechanism through which claims were tested. Each annexation replaced one ruler with another, but rarely replaced the logic of rule itself. The process did not unfold as a clean sequence. Diplomatic maneuvering, popular uprisings, foreign interventions, and calculated wars overlapped. Legitimacy was assembled piece by piece, not inherited. The new state relied on existing elites even as it displaced old sovereignties. Officials remained. Tax collectors stayed in place. Local power brokers adjusted their allegiance without abandoning their influence. Authority traveled faster than belief. Orders could be issued from Turin, then Florence, then Rome, but compliance often followed older lines of obligation. The state existed on paper before it existed in practice. Unification demanded expansion, and expansion demanded force. But force alone could not establish uniform authority. Each victory increased the territory under control while multiplying the problem of governance. The state's reach extended faster than its capacity to persuade. Military success created administrative burden. New laws arrived in regions where the state was still an abstraction. Conscription was enforced where national identity was weak. Taxes were collected where the benefits of the state were unclear. Resistance did not always take the form of open rebellion. It appeared as evasion, delay, non-compliance, and quiet hostility. Power in this context did not fail immediately. It functioned. Courts operated, railways were built, borders were secured. The appearance of coherence strengthened. From the center, the project seemed to advance. Reports arrived confirming order. Statistics suggested progress. Yet authority became dependent on its own instruments to measure itself. The state learned to see compliance where it had once seen loyalty. It mistook absence of revolt for acceptance. The further power extended, the more it relied on procedure to compensate for distance. The South revealed this tension most clearly. Annexation brought formal inclusion, but not shared authority. Local structures of power did not dissolve. They adapted. Banditry was labeled criminal rather than political, even as it reflected resistance to an external state. Military campaigns suppressed disorder without integrating allegiance. The state responded with force, reinforcing its claim while deepening separation. Authority became something imposed rather than recognized. Each intervention stabilized control while hollowing its legitimacy. The contradiction widened. The state needed unity to justify its existence. But unity required belief that could not be commanded. Schools taught a national language, but daily life remained regional. The law promised equality, but administration reflected hierarchy. Power centralized, yet influence remained uneven. The more the state insisted on uniformity, the more visible its limits became. Every assertion of authority carried the risk of exposure. Elites within the unified state sensed this instability. Some sought to accelerate cohesion through policy. Others relied on repression to maintain order. Both approaches assumed time would resolve resistance. Time, however, did not operate neutrally. Each year of rule without full consent normalized distance. The state became familiar as a presence, but not intimate as a source of belonging. Authority persisted as structure, not as shared meaning. International recognition reinforced this pattern. Italy was acknowledged as a power among powers. Treaties were signed, borders were respected. External legitimacy arrived more quickly than internal confidence. The state could act abroad while struggling to be accepted at home. This imbalance strengthened the central apparatus while weakening its responsiveness. Power learned to look outward for confirmation rather than inward for assent. Conflict did not end with unification. It changed form. Parliamentary instability, regional disparity, and social unrest reflected unresolved tensions. Authority survived by managing crises rather than resolving contradictions. Each adjustment preserved the framework while postponing reckoning. The dream that had justified struggle remained, but its content thinned. Unity became a condition to be maintained rather than a purpose to be fulfilled. Power, once consolidated, altered perception. Decision-makers interpreted resistance through administrative categories. Dissent became inefficiency. Cultural difference became backwardness. The language of governance replaced the language of belonging. In doing so, the state protected itself from uncertainty while losing sensitivity to erosion. Control remained visible. Belief receded quietly. The inward fracture emerges here. The unification of Italy required faith that authority could be extended faster than allegiance. That assumption sustained action but constrained understanding. As power succeeded in imposing order, it reduced its capacity to recognize what order concealed. The state encountered fewer overt challenges, not because it had persuaded, but because it had normalized compliance. The question that lingered was not whether Italy existed as a state, but whether authority could ever fully occupy the space it had claimed. Power does not disappear when belief weakens. It adapts. It becomes procedural. It governs through routine. The Italian state continued, resilient and intact, carrying within it the unresolved tension of its origin. The dream had been large enough to unify through conflict, but too expansive to be fully inhabited. Authority endured, yet the distance between rule and recognition remained. The pattern does not conclude, it holds. Power born through struggle often learns to trust its capacity to impose more than its need to persuade. The unification of Italy did not fail. It succeeded in creating a state. What it left open was the question of whether success measured in control can ever substitute for cohesion measured in belief. That question remained suspended, not answered by conflict, not resolved by time, but carried forward within the structure of authority itself. If this story gave you something to think about, consider subscribing to Timeless Questions. We explore history, philosophy, and the patterns that quietly guide human behavior.